Всем привет, с вами Олег, это канал Neoborn. Продолжаем играть истории из запасов Destiny. Как обычно, истории от чего-то там. Остановились на том, что нас предал кролик, мы вошли в новую локацию. А надо было начать с камня. Так, продолжим. Что-то просмотреть истории. Да, вот, надо было вот этой начать. Как ее там, Зенобия. Когда бы узнали о ней истину, возможно. А так мы будем сейчас ученых пытать. А какая глава? Глава 3.
He'd trusted his gut, and it had worked out. That's what it meant to be a hero. To ignore the naysayers and the odd makers, and do what you knew was right, and have it turn out to be the right thing. Well, he wasn't worried. Once he got to the observatory, the scientist toads could explain it. Then he could carry the war into the enemy's camp and destroy them all. Oh dear, he was getting a little bloodthirsty, wasn't he?
Что-то мне подсказывает, что мы отлетим от этого камня. Ох, это. А мне не надо. Ну, раз не надо, так не надо. А я точно? Ну ладно.
Don't look down.
Не хочу возвращаться. Ну а что там? Ничего такого. Да хорош. Только начали. Поехали на лифте. Интересно, что нам скажут ученые. Про погоду, наверное, как обычно.
When Renato went to the china shop, for some reason the owner was always nervous.
Так сюда нельзя зайти. Нельзя зайти. А у нас уровень, интересно, есть? Нет. Можно не заходить. Перераспределить я тоже не могу.
Go away.
Да хорош. Блять, заебали. Ты будешь двигаться? Нет, я ебу, блядь. Как он заебался, так будет. Серьезно, я не знаю. Я пытаюсь после вот этого уйти, а он не уходит, он просто крутится.
Renato had never felt better in his life. Normally, a battle would wear him down and he would need a night's sleep. Now he felt like he could go all night and all day. He felt like people were cheering him on, and he could practically hear their applause as he slew one raven after another.
Раздражает. Как же оно раздражает. Вообще смысл я их собираю?
And all the ingredients for a pretty nifty sword.
Так понял, тут разные сюжеты и разные концовки. Интересно, чем вообще все это закончится. Или ничем. Если тут разные концовки, то можно посмотреть.
The Imperial fleet was closing in on the rebels, forcing them to come out and fight. Bernardo was itching to bring the fight to the enemy. He had to remind himself not to be too reckless.
А, упасть нельзя.
Hey! Hey, a workbench! He could try out his new bling.
Новые цацки. О, ништяк. Я же могу вставить сейчас. Так, нанести двойной урон. И... Получается 3 энергии меча. Красный, желтый, синий. Все правильно. Красный стоим, желтый приготовились, синий думаем. Так, этот... Я могу, в принципе, этот сделать, чтобы открывать новые мечи. Ой, новые двери. Так он мне вообще
This sword from the frigid north was
вперся.
really useful for making popsicles and
Вообще это не
birdicles.
зачем. Осталось этот и все. Новые двери. Ты будешь махать? Понятно.
No skateboarding, the sign said.
Skateboarding. И все. Так куда ты?
Energy spears.
Отлично,
Easy to
блядь.
dodge, but boy, do they sting if you didn't pay attention. Boy, some people are just liable to explode if you upset them.
Чё? Берегите воронов-подрывников. Через несколько секунд после удара или броска они взрываются. Используйте их, чтобы получить преимущество. Ой, бля. Да ты уйди, блядь.
No one could beat Bernardo at hot potato.
Ой, ёпта. Что за конченое животное. Так и хочет отлететь раньше времени. Энергия за убийство. Так она и так пополняется, по-моему. Да? Да. Не ломается. Почему? А почему? Это ученый уже. Быстрый.
The toads at the
Открывай.
observatory measured the stone with their occult devices. I fed it the core of Sky Ripper, explained Renato. No more feed blood and souls.
But the core is not an unlimited energy source,
Said one toad. Another said,
there's a feedback loop, you see, which could overload the stone. Yeah, the stone doesn't actually feed on souls,
claimed a third.
but on pain of killing another sentient being. If you can truly be at peace with yourself,
It would not overload. This was all very confusing. At peace? Yes, the mountains were peaceful and quiet, but he now had the power to turn the tides. He should report to the Rebellion Council and prepare for the decisive battle.
Ну попробуй, да?
The one thing he understood from all the Toad arguments, maybe the stone did not feed on blood or souls or rage. It fed on empathy. It fed on the pain he felt when he put an end to another being's existence. Even if that other being was a raven intent on killing him. If he could find peace, then he could use the power of the Ibla stone without being taken over by its evil. The mountains. He would go to the mountains. He could find peace there.
Ну что, поедем в горы?
Unfortunately, the mountains were not empty. There were ravens everywhere.
Ну, конечно,
No matter.
конечно.
He had to fight, yes, but he didn't have to be angry. Parry, dodge, slash, and breathe. Yes, focus on the rhythm, the dance of it, not on the blood or the raven's core as they died. Ah, it was working. He wasn't feeling those dark jolts of eldritch energy. He wasn't feeling the Iblis stone.
Не кормил камень Иблиса.
Renato
А
wondered
я разве
idly
здесь не
if
был?
people who had built these poles had really, really long tentacles.
Обойди. Yeah. Сундуки на каждом ходу. А, я
Take a
вернулся
leap
в
of
горы
faith,
снова.
said the inscription.
Нифига себе. Не, ну вот теперь есть смысл. Теперь есть, конечно, я думаю, смысл использовать другие
The
мечи.
stone was
С
still
энергией.
silent.
Раз мне за
His
убийство
mind was
дают
his
энергию.
own. And his heart, too. He bore them no ill will, these ravens. They were doing their job. They were expressing their nature. Dance, whirl, parry, jab,
Вдох,
and
вздох.
breathe. It was all so
Конечно,
simple,
это-
wasn't it? But something was missing.
Дышать это так
He
просто.
didn't feel truly at peace. Wait. Wasn't this near a
Ты,
Calaveras?
сука, ты меня бесишь.
Say will help him figure it all out. Chill out.
Как бы вроде бы и есть, и вроде бы и нет. А, я бы туда не прошел. Там же нужен черный, темный. Черный, темный. Этот меч. Открыто?
Death to traitors! Caught the ravens.
Разматываю, как батька. Вообще на изи инвалиды. открывай.
There were a
Я
lot of
сундуки без ключа
shiny,
открываю так
smooth
просто.
and curved with leather, buckles and...
Потому что,
Kind of smelled,
потому.
you know what?
И чё?
Never mind. Yes, there was also ore and other useful stuff. Let's focus on that, shall we?
Ну дальше. А. Дальше понятно. А камушки мне закрыты, не видно ничего.
He was practically sure he'd find something useful in one of these things.
Конечно, можно найти энергию тут. А вдруг меня побьют сильно, а у меня энергии нет. Нечем будет ХП установить. О, отлично, пойдет. А я могу и туда. Это ж я вот там вот был, а вот тут вот не был.
That
Поэтому
is
я
a
пойду
very
сюда.
cool sword, thought Renaro. No, seriously. He couldn't feel his paw anymore.
Интересно. Мы летим домой? Чё? Куда ты меня везешь? Опа-на. А чё это такое? Дорогая Зинобия, ты помнишь ту экспедицию, которую я направил в глубины под островами? Она вернулась, точнее, вернулись 3 корабля из 8, посланных мною. Разумеется, я скорблю о потерях, но информация, которую принесли выжившие, бесценна. То, что им удалось выяснить, неслыханно. Воздух становился все более плотным и бушующим, пока не превращается в удушающую, переламывающую кости бурю на острова. Острова тянутся на многие мили ниже поверхности, а их корни устремляются вниз, насколько хватает взора. Острова живые, и вот доказательство, которое я искал. Плотный воздух глубин поддерживает их на плаву, и в глубинах же они находят себе пропитание. Обладают они сознанием, осознают ли наше существование, или же мы для них просто паразиты, которых они игнорируют или терпят. Я должен подготовить еще одну экспедицию. На этот раз я отправлюсь туда лично. Я должен увидеть этот чудесный мир бесконечного глубокого неба. Надеюсь, ты навестишь меня, прежде чем я соберусь в путь. Я бы хотел узнать побольше об этом твоем новом друге, Рейнардо. С любовью, отец. Это так это ни хера себе, это кролик хотел, короче, я так понял, захерачить эту девчульку. Че активировать? А, отлично. Хотел ее заколбасить, короче, вместе с нами.
Hey, what do ravens
А
say
мы
when they die?
оказались друганы.
Never mind. I'll wait. Who are these guys? They seem to make everyone else harder to kill.
Волшебники умеют смягчать удары и лечить врагов. Защищенные вороны очень опасны. Слышь ты, блядь. Защищенные. обещание. Fucked up.
He was in a swirl of newly remembered knowledge.
Всякие твари
Needed to
появились,
focus.
какие бесит. Нас сосредоточиться. Ни хрена. А можно открыть 2 или 1? Давайте я открою 2. Вот 1. Собираем, да. И вот 2. Физическая сопротивляемость. Я все равно, я понял. Открываешь двери и все равно
else
идешь
could you
дальше
hook?
по этой же локации. Все, поехали.
The Iblis Stone, silenced by the Sky Ripper's core, had given Renato enough power to challenge the Imperial fleet. But what Renato was seeking was inner peace. The rebellion was on the verge of extinction, but it would have to wait.
О, 2 уровня. Пополнить еще хп. Или... Да на пока хватит. Надо будет с 10, чтобы комбо. ХП пока не особо падает.
At the
Кто
end
ты?
of the mountain path, he found the wise Calaveras in his workshop. To fix souls
Calaveras.
are only artifacts. He asked the sage.
Does your soul need fixing?
Asked the sage. I've been killing a lot of ravens lately, he told the sage.
You're a fox,
Said Calaveras.
To kill birds is part of your nature. You should take joy in it. I mean, I might as well worry about eating flies. Would you like a fly?
It was true. That's what he had forgotten. The joy. Now he was ready for the final battle. The Farfarer cut through the clouds. The air had never felt so sweet since he was a child. There it was. The dreaded Imperial fleet. He could smell wet hemp ropes ahead, wood and tar, and ravens. Even the fleet smelt good, somehow. He was ready. He was ready.
Ебать осел.
Renato had it all squared away in his head. He would kill the Emperor. Isengrim III had begun well, but he had gone mad. He was trying to invoke the lost gods by means
сейчас
of dark, blasphemous rituals. That was a secret.
Хорош.
But the victims had spoken to Renato. The ghosts had spoken. No. No anger. Renato could not afford anger. It was empowering the crystal in his sword. That made him stronger, but it clouded his mind. He would not be a hero. A hero strives. Renato would just be one with everything. The Emperor would die, and the wheel would turn, and all would be restored without rancor, without sorrow, without pain.
Да, отлично. Забагалась, что ли? И чё? Все, давай, давай. поехали.
Bernardo had it all squared away in his head. He would kill the Emperor. Isengrim III had begun well, but he had gone mad. He was trying to invoke the lost gods by means of dark, blasphemous rituals. That was a secret. But the victims had spoken to Renardo. The ghosts had spoken. No. No anger. Renardo could not afford anger. It was empowering the crystal in his sword. That made him stronger, but it clouded his mind. He would not be a hero. A hero strives. Renardo would just be one with everything. The Emperor would die, and the wheel would turn, and all would be restored without rancor, without sorrow, without pain.
Я, говорит, забыл. Я, говорит, забыл, что могу этот, что моя природа
The
убивает.
portal was heavily guarded. It must go someplace they really didn't want him to go.
Да. Да ну хорош. Просто вообще. Я сам в ахуе. Размотал, раскатал. Как детей. Тужится. Даже энергии не потратил.
Don't look down, he told himself.
Мастер.
Don't
Мастер.
look down.
Ну не смотри. Возьми, не смотри. В чем проблема? Да обойди. Тут чё? Как всегда ничего, да?
It wasn't his fault. They looked so breakable.
Все? А что я тут делаю? Если они падают, их можно раскатать сразу же. Это хорошо. Это хорошо.
He wished there were more pylons he could use the hook on. Really needed to construct additional pylons.
Идем убивать императора. Но такое ощущение, что мы не императора идем убивать, а снова кролик.
better
чуть-чуть
in your next
такое.
life. But the more he thought about it, and he had so much more time to think about it now that he was not worrying about the battle, killing the Emperor would not change anything. Another would take his place. Perhaps Zenobia. Perhaps the Speaker of the Rebel Council, and power would corrupt them too, and death would make grief, and grief would lead to hatred.
Проехал.
He must lead by example.
На следующем поеду.
Reject the violence. Reject the desire to create violence. But how?
Зачем тут досочки, конечно, ничего не держит. Да ты заебешь меня. Отлично. Чё? Все эти активировал, не активировал. Быстрей. Каждую эту хрень надо обходить. Ну да, все то же самое, только
Soon
интересно.
he'd
что
confront
будет
the
здесь.
Emperor. Funny that this whole war had come about because the Emperor feared death. And now it was coming for him. There was some sort of lesson there, wasn't there?
У меня подозрение, что опять этот заяц. Ты меня заебал. Подозреваю, что бред закончится опять зайцем.
Finally, he came to the Emperor's ship. The path behind him was
Путь
strewn
за его
with dead
спиной был
ravens.
усеян трупами
The path
воронов. Путь к
to enlightenment. His mistake, he realized, was trying to change the world. The world would spin and the wheel would revolve whether he strove against it or not. What he had to
Конечно.
do was nothing. He had attained enlightenment. He sat down, adopted a full lotus position, and began to meditate. And all around him, the warriors stopped fighting too. They knew. They could feel his enlightenment. They gave up fighting, dropped their
Чё, блин?
weapons, and became his disciples. No, just kidding. The nearest raven stabbed him with a sword and then chopped off his head. I might not have thought this through properly. Thought Renado's head as it rolled around the deck and died. Renato stared at the book.
Просто идеальный
He
конец.
was still alive. Again. And still only flying away from burning Ubar. Had he lived that adventure? Or only dreamt it? Had he really died? It felt so real, not like a dream at all. And he'd lost again. Oh, he hated that.
Понятно.
But he had
Понятно,
made different
заебал.
choices.
Говорят,
And he'd lost in a
проиграл
different
удачи.
way.
Да.
It was the book, wasn't it? Oracles showed you your destiny. But this
This was showing him different ways he could die miserably.
Да, хорош, так.
Thanks a bunch, book, he thought. But these were
Бесишь.
destinies
Блядь,
that he did not have to
сколько можно
fulfill.
уже пиздеть? Я
But he
заебался
learned
вот это слушать.
another true thing. The Iblis stone was evil. It would try to corrupt anyone who used it.
Все? Спасибо. Герой, что ты за герой? Герой, который приступил свои пределы, чтобы стать единым целым с миром. Понятно, блин. Две половинки стали одной. Повышение уровня. Так, я открыл вот эту хрень. Камень Иблиса портит каждого, кто его использует. Получается, Иблиса. Так.
But that meant there must be a destiny where he survived
Попробовать
and
на
won, right?
Зенобию выйти.
Otherwise, what was the point? And with that, the book's pages fluttered back once more to the beginning, and the clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced, or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Да, мог, чё, хуй нет. Не
Every
боец.
child knew about the Sky Ripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces. What could have brought them to light? This Emperor, Isengrim III, had once been kind, but he'd gone mad. And now he was conducting secret, obscene rituals to bring back the lost gods. Had he, somehow, summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the earth? It was more than Renato could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it. As he set foot on the island, Renato couldn't help feeling a bit curious. Was Lapino still waiting to be rescued? No. He was probably drinking champagne with the ravens. Did ravens drink champagne? Did rabbits? Renato felt oddly thirsty, come to think of it. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Renato never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
Может быть и хватит. Получить каркас неборезный. Ладно. Надеюсь, что это выведет нас на Зенобию с этим каркасом. А если нет, то надо будет идти спасать этого и потом попробовать захватить принцессу. И тогда открыть истину с ней. Да, будем с ней открывать истину. Так же одному не получается. Ладно. На этом сегодня закончим. Всем до встречи. Всем пока.